Hey everybody out there, I am Dino Cazares from the group Fear Factory, and you're watching and listening to me on Interview Under Fire.
All right, how's it going out there, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new edition of Interview Under Fire. This is your host, Sonny, back here again, this time along with Dino Cazares. Quite the honor, man. Thank you so much for joining our IUF series today. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, for me, this is a personal one because I grew up with the music of Fear Factory. And of course, there are tons of fans out there who feel the same way. And I could speak for them, hopefully. And I wouldn't be here today without the music you put out in your career, Dino. Now, this is an exciting time of the year for you and the rest of the guys over at the legendary Fear Factory with the release of your 10th studio album. I can't believe I'm even saying that number. Aggression Continuum drops June 18th on Nuclear Blast Records, especially with those singles that dropped, Disruptor and Fuel Injected Suicide Machine that recently dropped. First things first, Dino, I know there's so much to discover about this headbanger of an album, but before we get to all that and beyond, I'm going to ask an important question to start things off. How are you, man? Are you in LA right now? How's life out there? I know things are starting to take a turn for the better now, nationwide. How's life out there right now since everything's changed since last March?
Life has been great. I've been very, very, very busy doing all things Fear Factory at the moment. Ever since July of 2020 last year, I regained control of the Fear Factory trademark, so I was able to move forward with completing this record, Aggression Continuum. Also, we went and recorded, live drums on the Industrialist record, so we could put that out with live drums. We also just released Demanufacture remastered on vinyl, and we also mixed and remastered some live tracks for the third vinyl that's in that package that you get. So yeah, I've been doing all things Fear Factory, and it's been great. It's been killer.
Yeah, and considering that this is also, the band's 30th anniversary, I felt like there couldn't have been a more perfect time to put this out. I mean, 10 albums, man. It's not an easy thing for anyone to do. And yet here you are. At the same time, it feels like everything also went by in a blink. Do you feel the same way, or is it just me?
No, I don't feel like it went by in a blink because I was pretty busy during that whole COVID downtime that everybody had. I was also working on one of my other bands, Assassino, trying to finish that record. But ever since Fear Factory took over, it's been all full steam ahead with Fear Factory. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on to being, the only surviving member of the band, and, it's kind of weird, celebrating the 30-year anniversary pretty much as the soloist, right?
Yeah.
But I also celebrated with the fans. So that's a big thing. And yeah, it's a big milestone that the band in itself kind of made it this far, despite all the changes and all the turmoil and all the lawsuits and just things that's gone on in the band in the 30 years of its career. It's definitely worthy of a book. So that's something that I'm also working on as well.
Oh man, that's definitely something to look forward to. Now you've been at this for over 3 decades, Dino. I can date it to 1990, even before that, whether it's with Fear Factory or even with Brujeria, Divine Heresy, Assassino, like you mentioned. I wanted to ask, how was the touring life and the live music experience for you personally? Because you've done some extensive touring, embarked on a handful of sold out headlining tours, Ozfest, Soundwave, Dynamo, Wacken, shared the stages with Black Sabbath, Slayer, Iron Maiden, and now we've all been kind of just forced to take this unexpected step back. And has this time lately made you develop a newfound appreciation of the touring life?
Well, I've always appreciated all that. I've always appreciated where I'm at. Appreciated the fact that I'm actually able to write music that people love and I can get it out there, and record companies signing the band in the beginning, and writing music that people love and traveling all around the world, numerous of times in my life. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I've been around the world, traveling to all the different countries and experiencing different cultures, and meeting all new different types of people around the world, and I just appreciate all that. So not necessarily a newfound appreciation, still appreciating the fact that I get to do what I do.
Yeah, and you could talk about food and culture and fans, like you talked about. There's so many things to pick apart about what makes touring amazing, and a very common subject on Interview Under Fire. I'm sure other publications are the same way, and you've seen this for the last year and a half. Live streaming. A lot of the bands, what they're doing on stage, they've been taking it on the screen like we're doing. Obviously, these interviews would be in person, but we've had so many bands on here. We've had artists like, Devin Townsend and August Burns Red and Lamb of God. Like, they talked about their experience on, selling, virtual tickets, so to speak, to the fans, and they would either pre-record a show or live stream a show. But with the amount of touring that you talked about just now, the experiences you went through, the venues you played at, the fans you've encountered, I wanted to get your take on it for someone like you, because do you think that the rise of the quarantine-induced live streaming we've been seeing this entire time, is that going to affect the touring musician business going forward through your perspective? Like, has it already been affected?
It's already been affected. Like, what, years ago, with people developing their own program on YouTube. You know what I mean? There's a lot of artists that don't tour anywhere near as much because they're successful online, doing these streaming type of things or video shows. There's a lot of people who made their whole career at it. Ex-touring musicians that are just now, not just now, but now, like just in the last 10 years, have been making their life on YouTube or other streaming platforms, whether it's OnlyFans or Patreon or so on. There's a lot of guitar players that are like just, in their home, guitar players that are, having a million subscribers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And making really good income doing this. It's been going on for quite some time now. But for the musicians who were never doing that, because of COVID, now starting their own Patreon page and their own OnlyFans, and getting up there on their YouTube channels and doing all that stuff, it's been a definitely turning point for those musicians who never had done it.
Yeah, and there's no wrong answer to what you just said, because I've had so many artists like yourselves say, yeah, I would still love to engage with my fans. It still gives me a chance to do what I want to do. And some artists would say, I'm not doing anything until all this is over. Yeah, there's always that freedom to mosh in your own room, right? But how much more creative can you get? Like, you do the live streaming and then you kind of hit that barrier, like, okay, now what? So I remember I went to this, I'm sure you've seen it. Metallica did this for one weekend. They did the live streaming back in August. They had a live show. The Dallas sold out completely. They were doing it at the drive-ins. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
And it just made me miss that live experience even more. Like, what's the most commonality we hear doing a live show? Hey, let me see those horns, right? You just see like a sea of horns from the fans, and you get that adrenaline rush.
Show me your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You
stuff,
see all that in the crowd. Instead, what did we get? I remember 3 Days Grace open, and they said something like, hey, let me hear you guys honk your horns. So if you roll your window down, you just hear the cars honking just in silence. It felt so, I don't know. Like I said, it made me miss that even more. Like, the turnout was great. It was great.
If I had a band, if I had a singer, I would have already been doing that stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Because you get there, like, the turnout feels like an actual metal show. You get there, and then you're sitting in the car, and then you watch on the drive-in screen in front of you, like on the field. It's like, okay, it's not the same. It's not the same.
So, like, no, it's not the same, but I would still do it, because it's just a way of you getting the music out there. It's just different. Right. A different way of you getting the music out there. And but if I had a singer, I would have been doing that already. And people are saying, well, why don't you have a singer? Well, because I'm taking my time and finding the right person to fill that slot. But yeah, I'm all about people, making income any way they possibly can, because obviously that main income of touring for a lot of musicians is gone. You know what I mean?
Very true.
Everybody's got to find a new way to make money, and that's just how it is. That's just where the change is. We've been talking about the relationship between human and AI for a long time, and just how people are addicted to their iOS devices. You know what I mean? And things like COVID make us even more addicted, for the bad or worse. In some ways, it's everything in this technology-driven world has its pros and cons, right?
Yeah.
Pros is like we could talk like this. We could do these video shows, these video podcasts, and the world gets smaller because we could talk to each other. The bad parts, the cons are, misinformation, conspiracy theories that are ruining people's lives, relationships, suicides.
Yeah.
Those are the things, the bad things that definitely has changed in our world. It's hard to make it sound so, sad.
No,
but that's pretty much something that we've been talking about, this kind of change for a long time, how certain things become obsolete, whether it's us as man, whether it's jobs, whether it's technologies, whether it's medical, things become obsolete and new things arise all the time.
That was actually rolling through my head, and when I was obviously it's been in your lyrics, for crying out loud, throughout your entire catalog, and that is the challenge that we are facing. I mean, you spoke the truth. I don't want you to filter yourself, like, because it's true, because there's a lot of misinformation being thrown at us left and right. I mean, you want to talk about politics, that's a whole different episode we could talk about altogether, because that, as far as
I've seen band members getting kicked out. I've seen band members leaving because they go down the rabbit hole of QAnon and things like that.
And that rabbit hole goes deeper and deeper. They start believing Infowars.com.
Oh, geez. QAnon, all that stuff. And people lose relationships. You know what I mean? It's bad. It really consumes the person big time.
Yeah. And you really get to see, like, talking about the filter, I got to really see, as far as like my circle, like my relationships, like, I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. A lot of people showed their colors, so to speak, throughout this entire.
But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how it just all of a sudden, started dating back to like 2015, 2016. I mean, it's been going on for a long time,
right.
But really when you started to see these things pop up was around 2016, around there during the early elections. All this stuff started to pop up, all this misinformation and just lies. And we have actually a song called Manufacture Hope.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorites.
That kind of deals with a little bit of this subject, but in a more futuristic way, just being lied to. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we've been talking about this forever, and we're still talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel really bad for those people, because I see some really intelligent people go down this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, and it just consumes them, and it just ruins a lot of things in their lives. And
you kind of go through your heads like, wait, really? You, like, of all people? Just saying, just my experience, at least.
Yes. And they look at us, we're the idiots. They look at us as like we're the ones who are the sheep, as they call it. But whatever, to each his own. But it's just unfortunate that that a lot of this stuff is becoming true. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about for years. There's a company called Boston Dynamics. They're coming out with robot police dogs. Are really, they're coming out with robots that are very much like humans, that can run, dance, jump. The only thing they don't have is the human mind, which is coming next.
What's it called?
Boston Dynamics.
Okay, I'm gonna have to say this now. That's definitely something I'll have to look into after this. Man, Dino. Here's the thing: we covered everything from head to toe. Let's talk about that.
We did.
Album, because that 10th album, you talk about everything that's in your lyrics is pertaining to what's going on in the world. Aggression Continuum comes out June 18th on Nuclear Blast. Now, this is the follow-up to 2015's Genexus. Now, if I may, I'm going to go and sum it up, because I've been listening to nothing but this album since I was sent to it by Nuclear Blast. From start to finish, I mean, as far as the industrial and the futuristic and the groove metal sound, even some death metal elements, cinematic tones were in there. Just that level of consistency in Fear Factor sound and what you have maintained with your playing over the years, I mean, riff after riff after riff. I mean, songs like Recode to the title track to Manufacture Hope to End of Line. You guys, you've done it again. Albums which have gone to be certified gold and silver, even multi-platinum. I mean, this is just another impressive addition to your catalog. And we all know Burton is no longer with Fear Factory. And if I may add to that, it's quite the sign off for someone like him. So, walk me through this. Does writing music get easier, or does the pressure of so many great records make it harder?
Well, during the period of writing this record, there was definitely a lot of pressure, because we didn't know if this record was going to be called Fear Factory or not, because we were all there was a big battle for the trademark name, right?
Of course.
Which pretty much financially broke us. Me personally, going bankrupt, and during the stressful period of unfortunately, getting a divorce, and just all the relationships that it destroyed. You know what I mean? I mean, look what happened with Bird. He pretty much, quit the band because of all this stress and pressure, which I get it. Some people don't want that in their life. But to me, it was always worth it. To me, it's worth it because this is where I started. This is what I create or help create in some aspects. And I'm not going to give it up just because of some lawsuits or just some bankruptcies. No way. Music is number one important thing for me. I'm lucky that I get to do what I get to do. I chose this as my life. I'm considered a lifer. And this is what unfortunately, this is what I signed up for, the good and the bad,
Yeah.
I'm married to this in a way, you could say. Well, actually, it's probably more than marriage. This is Fear Factory is my soulmate. That's what it is. It's just, it's in my heart and it's not leaving. And writing these songs, one of the beauties about writing songs is that you never stop learning. You're always learning with different people you collab with, listening to other music or life experiences. For me, I've had the opportunity to really show in my music, like the pain or the struggle or the beauty of what I'm doing, of what I'm going through. You know what I mean? You're definitely, as people say, it's like, canvas, you're painting art. Yeah, it's something that it's something that creates from within you that comes out. It may sound cliche, but that's really how it goes for some people. And for me, it's like I get inspired by so many different things. Like, for instance, on this record, we worked with 5 different keyboard players, right?
Oh,
and
wow.
that was really cool because it gave me different perspectives to look at in certain parts of the song, right? Like Fuel Injected Suicide Machine. There's this middle section where the chorus and that part just fucking blows up beautiful,
Right.
And then there's also the intense riff. It's kind of like, it's like tension and release. You build up all this tension in the verses, and then the release is the chorus, the beautiful angelic chorus with these beautiful keyboards that are just pushing the part, elevating them to new levels, and just really provoking a feeling between the contrast, between the tension, between the tense parts and the beautiful parts. And the contrast sometimes is what's the beauty of it. And you appreciate each part more because they both play a significant role in the song, but they're both so far apart in contrast that it makes each part stick out more.
Yeah, I think it's also another way to tell the story, so to speak. Each part of the song stands out more. Now, the sound, as far as that is concerned, I'm kind of an audiophile these days. With this album, even with your other albums, I'm thinking about it. It sounded so polished because you also brought in the likes of Damien Renaud, Reese Fulber, Andy Sneap. Hopefully, I'm not missing anybody there. Talk about then. I'm sure there's a sense of comfortability for you, Dino, in the studio, knowing that you had someone like these collection of people, these persons like working on Aggression Continuum with you. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when I was able to regain the trademark rights, I was like, okay, I need to construct my dream team again. And getting Damien Renaud, his name is Renaud.
Renaud, sorry, apologies. Yeah. Obviously,
the French, Renaud. Anyway,
Renaud. All right,
getting him back, getting him behind, back into the production side and engineering side. He's kind of like one of my partners in crime as well. He's been working with the band since 2011. So he's very well experienced in knowing what I like and what he could bring to the table as far as his production side. And of course, Reese Fulber, who's been working with the band since 1992, right? It's been a long time.
Oh yeah.
He really helped us grow as a band. It's not that I didn't have the vision, but he was able to create the vision of all the electronic elements and strings and keyboard elements into the music. So he wasn't on the first version of this record. So I tried to get him back onto this record where he was only able to do like a couple of songs, but that's fine. I wanted to get him on the record some way or another, right? And of course, getting Andy Sneap. Andy Sneap mixed Genexus. He did a great job. It was our first time working with him on that record. So I wanted to bring him back for this record, and fucking, it sounds amazing. You hear you hear every part. That's great.
Yeah, and that pretty much sums it up perfectly. Like I said, like I heard everything on this record, and it's something that's another consistent part about Fear Factor's catalog. Now, you've been in these handful of amazing bands, like I mentioned before. Would it be safe to say that the challenges, if there were any, you faced this time around are the biggest you encountered when it comes to surrounding an album release? Considering Burton's departure. And if so, what can you take with you going forward if there's a learning experience from this?
Well, you learn from everything that you do. Sometimes history repeats itself, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's inevitable that sometimes that's happened. But when I say that, it's because when Fear Factory first started, we actually did a record called Concrete. It was recorded back in 1991 with Ross Robinson. Unfortunately, we couldn't sign the contract. We couldn't agree on the contract. So we ended up going to court over it. And basically we were able to keep our songs and Ross was able to keep his recordings. So we were introduced to lawsuits in the very beginning of our career. Jeez. It was like, welcome to the music industry, boys. Get out there and do it. and that's pretty much, we've been exposed to that since the very beginning.
And it's just right off the bat.
Right off the bat. Yes, exactly. And so, so these kind of things are like nothing new to me. To me, I think I work well when there's challenges. I think I work well when there's stress because I'm able to have enough experience to be able to channel those feelings and put them on through the guitar, obviously, Right. I introduced a few more different things that I haven't really done in the past. And I've been doing a lot of bends on this record, which is really cool. Never done that on any Fear Factory record before. And so just little things like that really enhance to progressing this record. Sometimes the little things, really shine and you could see it. On this record, also the live drums, Mike Heller, I gave Mike Heller a little bit more free reign to do what he wanted as far as like adding all the fills. And he actually said that Disruptor has more fills than the whole Demanufactured record. And he's right about that. There's a lot of fills.
Interesting.
And so that's new elements.
I have to go back and revisit that now.
That's new elements that we bring into the music. But it was just a style that we created, with no fills, no guitar solos. We wanted to be more of an industrial band in that way. Right. So that's why we didn't do those things. It wasn't because we couldn't. But later on, when I came back to the band in 2009, 2010, when Mechanized came out, we had Gene Hoglan in the band. He was adding more fills as well. But Aggression Continuum was probably the most that we've ever added in any record. So that's really cool. And Mike Heller was there to do it all, and it was killer. So there's always something a little bit different that we bring into our music. Working with different keyboard players who were able to have a different perspective on certain parts definitely added to the record as well. And I just think overall, it's just trying to keep a certain standard and the quality of Fear Factory's music, and to keep it and songwriting, to keep a certain standard that that people learn to appreciate. Yeah. I think people can definitely hear it on this record. It's there. Yeah. The aggression, the feeling, the beauty, the emotions, the pain, the struggle, the amazing production. It's all there. The riffs, the beats, the contrast of the vocals, the amazing orchestral and electronic industrial, keyboard parts are all there. The structures, from beginning to end, you're definitely taking you through this roller coaster of emotions that are all in that record. And I'm very proud of it. Very, very proud of it. And I'm very happy that I was able to survive and get this out to everybody out there.
Yeah. And as you're talking about it, I kind of want to circle around to it, because between writing and structuring the songs in the production process, we actually spoke to Fran from Light the Torch. He did the album art for Aggression Continuum. I'm hoping you can shed some more light on this, because the lyricism surrounding Aggression Continuum, like you talked about before, Fear Factory, technology, society, science fiction, the dystopian post-apocalyptic future. There are different concepts around that, influences drawn from some of my personal favorite movies like Blade Runner and Terminator. So I wanted to ask, someone like you've done this entire catalog within Fear Factory. How important are themes and concepts to you, Dino? Is that more about helping you write or sound, or is that more for the audience? Because so many artists, they don't really care about themes. They just do 10 songs in the studio and that's it.
All the above. We kind of started that from the day one that my roommate came up with the name Fear Factory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I bought it from him with some 2-liter Pepsis and some Snickers. That's how I paid for the name. So we were like, okay, this name sounds cool. What does it mean? So since day one, since we came up with the name, we came up with a theme for the name. So what it is like anything that manufactures fear. It could be the government, it could be politics, it could be, post-apocalyptic, surviving the bomb, surviving the war, technology, where it's taken us, the relationship between man and machine, just all those things in society that's changing all of us. That's what Fear Factory means. Anything that manufactures fear.
Yeah.
And then trying to overcome it and trying to get past it, trying to know what's coming and to be prepared for it, right? That's kind of like what we've been talking about. So it's socially aware, right? It's also, themes about obviously the relationship between human and AI. We've been talking about that, and that's an ongoing theme because that's still current today. I mean, our relationship between our iOS devices, like I was saying before, people are addicted to this, right?
Or an Android. I got an Android here.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Operating systems. You know what I mean? We're addicted to our operating systems. Did you ever watch the movie Her?
Yeah, that's a great movie.
Joaquin Phoenix. Great movie.
It's scary good. That's the way I'll put it.
Exactly. But anyways, we're just talking about all those type of themes that we've been doing, and the relationship is not always good, meaning between man and machine. It's not always good. Sometimes they get along. Sometimes they can be one. Sometimes they're at war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just what the whole concept is. And for me, I've always loved that because I've always been into movies, because movies have a concept. They have a story behind it. They have, people's feelings are there. You know what I mean? And fans can relate to those types of movies. And I've been a fan of all those early movies you could think of: Blade Runner, Dune, Terminator, Aliens, even shows like Star Trek.
Have you seen Dark City?
Yeah, of course, Dark City. Yeah, and of course, but we're talking about those movies that had like trilogies and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mad Max, all the Mad Max movies, all that stuff. Really, I really like. And new school movies that come out, like Upgrade. There's a movie called Upgrade. You got to check it out.
I've seen that.
Badass.
That is a great film.
To me, it's a great film. Monsters of Man is another low budget
Yep.
sci-fi movie that's killer too. That's totally what I'm really into, those stuff. But just being a fan of that kind of stuff really adds to the theme of these records, right? The concept of these records, and just telling the story that people not only just enjoy the music, they enjoy the lyrics, they enjoy the concepts, they enjoy what stories that I'm telling them about, in these interviews, the stories that I'm telling you about, they enjoy all that. For instance, Francesco, when he did the artwork, we had extensive conversations. I don't know if he told you that, but we had conversations about where we wanted to take this next concept album cover and how it could relate to the story. And basically, it's an automaton in the shape of an F, but it's also got its legs open, which makes it an X formation, right? Okay. And the X is Roman numeral 10, which is for our 10th record, right? So on the bottom F, on the right side, you see the serial number, and it's FF103190, which is the birth of that model, but it's basically the birth date of the band, right?
Wow.
And then the Grecian Continuum means just we're going to continue this. It's going to keep going, right? So it's the past, present, and the future. So the past being a serial number of the beginning, the X being a 10, which is our 10th studio record, the present, and the continuum, which is it's going to continue. So that's the theme of the record. In the beginning of the first song, Recode, has a spoken word intro. It's about how we've been fucked over as humans by technology, right?
Yeah.
And that we're fighting against it. Right now it's at war. Recode, the first lyric is, imagine your life taken from you. That's the first line, and that's kind of like the theme of the whole record. Just us being stripped, well, as band members, because of all the losses and stuff like that. It relates to all that, just the struggles and the pain that we had to go through just to get this record done. And then different themes, not different themes, but it fits in the concept of different themes of the record, right?
Yeah.
Aggression Continuum, the title track, or even Disruptor, or let's go back to Recode. Recode, it deals with and it deals in two different ways. One is recoding your mind, recoding your memory, right? And being lied to, being sucked into this rabbit hole that we were talking about earlier. You know what I mean? And then being able to break free of all that bullshit, right? Being a stronger individual, strong-minded person, and being able to break free of that. But in the concept way, we're talking about how AI, which could be whatever we see on the internet, AI stripping us of our memories and our consciousness and our soul and transferring it into an automaton. So the automaton could think it's human because it has all your memories.
Yeah.
Right.
And you could trace it back to like movie like Her, like you mentioned.
That's kind of like what Recode is themes about. Then you go to Disruptor. Disruptor is basically just trying to disrupt the system. You're trying to block whatever it is, whatever signal it is, you're trying to block it. You're trying to disrupt it. Right.
Yeah.
And then you go into songs like Aggression Continuum. Aggression Continuum is obviously continuing the battle, right? But in the beginning of it, it's a storyline that we reenacted from the movie Monsters of Man, where these fucking war robots that are just there to kill people think they're human, and so you have an interaction between this war automaton, this autonomous combat system, talking to this human, and the human's trying to tell him, "You're not human. You're a robot." But the robot thinks it's human, and it doesn't believe the human. So that's kind of like what that is about. And then purity is when the automaton finds out that it's kind of not human. He's starting to figure it out, and he's just saying, but he's trying to say, but I'm just one of you. I am one of you. Take me as I am. You know what I mean? They're like, he's trying to say, like, look, I'm just one of you, but he's also figuring out who he is and what he is.
Yeah.
So that theme kind of goes through the whole record. Then you get to the last song, which is End of Line, which is kind of saying it's the end of the line, right? But after that song, you hear a quote that I took from Dune, and it's the fear is the mind killer speech. Right. And in the speech, it goes, when the fear is gone, only I remain. And that's kind of like me saying that's once that fear is gone, only I remain, meaning only me is the last soul guy in the band. And I don't fear what's coming next. Right.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm also with that also, as I'm also trying to tell the listener, like, don't fear what's coming next, because it's going to be killer. Sure, our singer left, he quit for whatever reasons, but that doesn't mean that this machine has to stop because one part decided to break down. You know what I mean? We are going to continue. We've replaced that part, and we're moving on. Yeah. I'm forced to. Some people have said, hey, why don't you just change the band name or just quit? I'm like, no. Fuck you, I'm not quitting.
Dude, I've seen so many comments on your social.
I'm not changing the fucking name. I fucking killed for this name. No fucking way.
Yeah.
No fucking way.
I can't tell you
I
how many
started
times
this band. I started this band. I got Raymond and Christian together. I'm sorry, Raymond and Burton together to start this band. And there's no way that I'm stopping because other people don't want to do it. Hell no.
No, and you shouldn't.
Hell no.
I was gonna say
No.
I've seen so many comments on like your social media pages. Oh, this like exactly the consistency of, oh, why didn't you do this? To change the band name. He's gone. What happened?
Listen, if I listened to everybody who gave me advice in the beginning of Fear Factory, I wouldn't be where I'm at, because I felt that Fear Factory was a band that was able to push the envelope, give something, create something new for the genre to be influenced by and take it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean the heavy melodic, the heavy core, the heavy verses, the melodic choruses. I can't think of anybody. Loudwire try to do some YouTube, and this is fucking absolute. Loudwire, I love you, but you guys are so wrong on this. You guys need to go and investigate even better. Yes, I'm calling you out, Loudwire. That video you did was whack about who came up with the melodic and melodic and heavy vocals together, the combination of the two. At the time we came out, 1990, I'm a music lover. I've worked in a record store for 10 years. I saw what came and went. I heard, every record that looked like a fucking metal record. I listened to it, and I never heard anything like it. And that was one of the reasons why I chose Bert to be in the band, because I knew he could do both. And so when he finally discovered that about himself, we went with it, because there was nobody else that was doing it. That was a good thing and a bad thing. The bad part, every label that I shopped the band to turned us down. They're like, who the fuck's singing melodic on a fucking death metal record or a grind record or industrial grind death metal? Nobody. Get that out of here. We don't want that in our office. No, we're not going to sign you. But luckily, Monty Connor, when he heard it, he was like, fuck. He saw something. Even his words, he didn't hear. One of the most prestigious A&R guys back in the 80s and 90s, signing all these up and coming bands, and who's listened to everything that's come across his desk, right?
Yeah. He
saw the beauty in Fear Factory. He saw the new elements that we were bringing to metal, and he was like, I got to get this band because they're original. And that's where, that was once we got signed and once we, really developed our style and our sound, that I felt, and sure, people can disagree with me or not, I don't care, but I felt that we brought something to this genre of music that people can use today. The heavy vocals, the melodic chorus, syncopated guitar riffs.
From the different experiences and perspectives in your timeline that you have taken in, which we have discussed about so far.
Yeah, most people don't understand the timeline. Most people don't.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Whether it's, being in a band that's been through the ups and downs, playing for as long as you have, and the people you have met and worked with during these amazing records, the multiple touring cycles I mentioned, in your band, the name Fear Factory, it's a household name these days. Like, you're considered a stepping stone in heavy metal lore and in playing guitar. So Dino, I kind of want to round it out to this question here. What is the most rewarding part for someone like you, who is now at this point in their career, at the same time has been involved with so many other aforementioned different talented bands, artists, individuals? Do you ever just stop to take a look back at how far you've come?
Oh, all the time. I don't have to stop. I'm
Right.
still going. You know what I mean? And I don't forget where I came from. I don't forget how I started. I don't forget what influenced me to do what I do on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It's there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have to stop, because I'm still living it. You know what I mean? And I think part of being successful is being able to create something original, being able to create something that people can be influenced by. Sure, anybody can agree with me or whatever, but in my perspective and in my eyes, I felt that we carved our niche in this genre, and that we did our contributions to this genre, and I can't ever stop contributing as much as I can to this genre. There was something really important that Zach Wilde told me at Dimebag Darrell's funeral. He said, Dimebag, excuse me. He said, Dimebag left us this torch to pass it on to others. And what he means by that, it's like Dimebag left us this influence, this body of music that we can all be influenced by. And it's up to us guys, us people like ourselves who create this music to pass it on to other people as well. You know what I mean? It's the gift. It's the gift of passing it on. And you can't say, oh, somebody ripped me off, somebody didn't rip me off, blah, 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 whatever. Everybody's influenced by something, right? And it's just our job to create, to continue to pass on this torch to other people.
Yeah, man, you couldn't have said that any better than what you just did. And I remember seeing Dimebag, good Lord, 2 months before he got shot on the stage, and that struck a chord with all of us, and especially here in Texas, obviously.
Well, he wasn't only just a good guitar player; he was a good guy. You know, he was, and he was always the life of the party, and he wanted to make sure that you were a part of that as well. He wanted you to be in his world, and his world was very, very, very fun. He had a very fun world around him, you know, and he surrounded himself with fun people. And if you were down, he knew how to bring you up. You know, he was one of those guys. You know, it wasn't just on stage; it was off stage as well. And that was one of the beauties about him and just about hanging out with him.
Yeah. Man, Dino, yeah, perfectly said. And this has been such an honor, Dino. I know we're running out of time here, but I said I had a surprise for you at the end. So I haven't done this in a while. This throws my guests off all the time. They actually love this. I'm going to see what I'm going to do. Something special here. I'm going to put you on the hot seat. I'm going to see if you know the own lyrics to your own songs. Are you up for that challenge?
Sure.
That's good. That's the most simple answer I got. I've had so many artists who say, oh, I won't get any song right. And they get every song right. And some artists would say, oh, I'm not going to, and I'll get all of them right. And they get all of them wrong. So what I did, I handpicked, not all your songs, don't worry. I handpicked a handful of favorites. I'm going to read the lyric. I won't go in order. And you just name the song. You okay? You ready?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I refuse to pledge allegiance, a ceremony
Disruptor.
Yeah, there we go. Starting off easy. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Here we go. But the brightness turned my eyes, unconscious or am I conscious? Fell from the sky like a star. Sometimes I feel as though I'm frozen in heaven.
Memory imprints. Dark bodies. Dark bodies.
Yeah, dark bodies.
Sorry.
When I read it, it's like poetry as opposed to delivering it on stage.
Yeah.
It gives
it's dark bodies. It's dark bodies, and there's what's the subtitle of that?
Invisible wounds.
Invisible wounds. That's what it is.
Yeah, from Digimortal 2001. I loved when you guys switched things up there. I love that. A lot of people were like, "What the heck are they doing?" I remember that when that album first dropped.
Dark bodies floating in darkness.
And
no sign of.
Okay, now the next one, you mentioned this earlier. Let's see if you get this. Invoking God to spite enemies, judge mankind implicitly, kill everyone who does not see, kill everyone who does not believe.
Not believe. Virus of Faith?
Virus of Faith from Industrialist. Which, by the way, I had no idea you were retracking the drums on that. I'm excited about that now to hear that version.
Okay. We got 3 right.
All right, so I think you're gonna get every one of them right. So you knew this song was coming. So withdrawn and feeling numb, watching life come all undone, growing fear, a human grace, a drowning mind in a dark embrace.
That's an easy one that I can't seem to get. Say it again.
Think about what's behind me right now.
Sorry?
I was gonna say.
I can't even see that. Mortal Kombat. So it's Zero Signal.
Yeah, there we go.
A dark embrace. Yeah.
I was like, which lyric should I call out from this one? That was a challenging one. All right, moving on.
That was actually an easy one that I couldn't get.
Yeah, that goes to show how impressive your catalog can go, how far back we can get on this. All right. Replace for enhancement, destroy permanence, born again and faithless, shatter the resilient. I've got the power.
Oh, Power Shifter.
Nope. I've got the power to effect a change, amplify my body, don't fade away.
That's also on Industrialist, right?
Think
Recharger.
This is the last album. Think 2015. I'm making you rethink your set list then.
Well, I mean, it's obviously Genexus, but I don't know what song it is.
Regenerate.
Okay, there you go.
All right, we got a couple more. How can you accept social suppression, this weak state of mind in our time? I demand release from hypocrisy. I'd rather die than be held down, forced down.
Held down, forced down.
And then the next lyric is, that's the title.
Power Shifter. No.
You just want to say that. That's Freedom of Fire.
Oh, Freedom of Fire. Okay.
From Obsolete. I bet you
$10. I bet you $10 that if you were to ask Bert these lyrics, he probably wouldn't remember which song it is.
Like any of them?
Oh no, he would remember.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we do have, a couple hundred songs in our catalog, so it's
only a couple hundred.
Yeah.
There's a lot to remember. Freedom of Fire. That may be my favorite Fear Factory song of all time. I'm not sure. A lot
of people request that song, but we hardly ever do it ever.
When's the last time you played it live?
Probably since 1998, Jesus. 1999.
Hey, I know I'm just a fan out of millions out there. That'd be great to see you guys play that again.
That's why we were talking about doing the Obsolete in its entirety, but obviously he quit. So obviously, I mean, I could still do it. I'm not sure if I want to, but I could still do it.
All right, next one. You've been saying this over and over. This is finally
Power Shifter.
Yeah, you want more? You got more. Only you got more. I knew this. This song was gonna be in there. Mechanized from 2010. That was a great return.
Well, it's funny because those lyrics dealt with the early lawsuits, and then you want war. They definitely brought war.
And then always question authority, control my own destiny. Exactly what you're doing right now, man. All right, last one, man. Okay, I'm sure you'll get this. Actually, it's whatever. What I thought was life came to an end, born into a world. I never asked for this. I've got to get away. I've got to get away. I've got to get
Martyr.
Away. There we go. Soul of a New Machine, 1992. Go ahead.
Well, what's the last line you said?
I've got to get away.
Keep saying over again.
I've got to get away. I've got to get it. That's what I've been given. Is there anything after that?
No, just say I got to get away. Say it 3 times.
I've got to get away. I've got to get away. I've got to get away.
Okay. I got to get away. Get away. Get away. I've got to get away. Get away. Get away.
Oh my gosh. Nirvana. Yeah.
Exactly. Bert stole that line from Nirvana.
What? I had no idea. This is the first time I'm even hearing that. Holy crap. Wow.
I just sang it to you. I
That's
got to
insane.
get away. Get away. Get away.
Was there ever any
I've got to get away.
Is anybody approached you be like, hey, you guys took it away from Nirvana, or how was it like
no one ever said that. No.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I didn't even know that. Man, Dino, this has been such an honor, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Has been a lot of fun. I can't wait till we do this in person, obviously, when you guys come to Dallas, when touring resumes again. I'm sure there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Do you have any, last words? Is there anything you'd like to plug in as far as Fear Factory and Aggression Continuum before we finish things off here? I know touring is resuming soon for a lot of bands, but I don't know what you can and cannot say about that going forward.
Well, what I can say is I want to say thank you to all the fans that supported us for over 30 years. And I appreciate everybody who contributed to the GoFundMe campaign to get this record out. Now, you can go to fearfactory.com to get vinyl, cassettes, CDs, merchandise, and see the upcoming tour dates that we'll be announcing pretty soon. We're going to be getting a new singer. We're going to move forward. We're going to release some tracks as well. Something in the near future. With a new vocalist, so it's going to be killer. I can't wait for everyone to hear this record that's coming out June 18th. The new single is Recode. It'll be out June 11th. There's going to be a video to go along with it. Part 2 of Disruptor video will be that, and I can't wait to get back out there and tour the world where we can make it to, because the COVID restrictions. Some of these countries are going through different things, so. we're hoping that we can tour everywhere, and I'm excited. Can't wait to get back out there. Check out the new record, fearfactory.com. Thank you very much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
And I didn't even give you a round of applause. I'm gonna give you a round of applause once the show airs because you got most of the songs right. I'm just gonna give you all the songs.
I think I got like 5 out of 7. I think
I picked like 8 or 9 of them. I think you only got 1 wrong. You kept saying power shifter from the get-go. You definitely got that right. But I can't wait till we do this again. Everyone is listening. This is Dino Cazares from Fear Factory. Aggression Continuum drops June 18th on Nuclear Blast. Now, here's a very simple request. I urge you to buy the album. I still buy records today, you know, that's still sitting in the corner of my room. You know, digital is great, you know, Spotify is great, but the bands can't do it without your help. It's a very simple request, but buy the album. That's my urge to you. I'm sure Dino will love that as well. And don't forget.
Well, everybody will.
And
don't forget on the record, yeah.
And everyone listening, you can listen to this podcast on all major podcast streams. It'll also be on YouTube. Check us out on interviewonfire.com. Dino, we'll stay in touch, man. Look forward to the day we do this in person and talk about how we did an interview during a pandemic and talk about things, you know, once everything comes back to normality, which is soon. You stay safe out there in LA, man. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to Interview Under Fire podcast. If you guys liked what you heard, please subscribe and share our channel. And please leave a 5-star review as that helps us tremendously. If you'd like to check out more, visit www.interviewunderfire.com or our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And finally, we want to thank you all for the support you've been giving us. Keep it burning.